He doesn't walk into a room and like bang, oh my God, I shouldn't open that door. And a lot of guys do. Romero walked into that room. Garcia walked into that room. So
Yeah.
he don't, and that's part of what separates him, and makes him a guy that's one of the most complete fighters right now of our time.
Can Gervonta become a legend in his weight class?
What do you think about people comparing Tank Davis to you? What do you think about that?
Tank is a great fighter.
You think he's a great fighter? But what do they think? What do you think about them comparing him to you? You're a legend, my friend.
Well, he'll be one too if he keeps fighting.
Very soon, Gervonta Davis will have to defend his crown against a confident, young, quite sharp, and audacious contender. So how high are Gervonta's chances against Frank Martin? Sit back and relax. I have prepared a very technical breakdown of the Gervonta Davis versus Frank Martin fight. Make sure to watch until the end where you'll find detailed fight predictions. Let's go. The Davis-Martin fight is a fight that benefits boxing as a whole. Two undefeated boxers, both with impressive records and are known for their spectacular knockouts, will face off in the ring and try to take away the zero in their opponent's loss column. Both are quite media savvy, controversial, and are known to the general public for the fiery temperaments. From a business standpoint, this fight is no less perfect. Both boxers are Americans, and the fight will take place in Las Vegas. Tickets sold out in just a few hours, indicating the tremendous excitement surrounding the fight. The pay-per-view system and the broadcast price of $147 also suggest that the fight will be in very high demand. The boxers are at the peaks of their careers, which means that the fight will be truly spectacular. Now, let's move on to the technical aspects of the fight. Dimensions. Boxing is not a sport where everything depends on size. However, it's worth noting that Frank Martin is 0.36 feet taller than Tank Davis. In the off-season, Frank is also slightly heavier than Gervonta, 155 pounds compared to Tank's 150. Martin also has the advantage in reach, but as we know, the devil is always in the details. If we compare the careers of the boxers, Gervonta has not struggled with taller and bigger opponents. Oh no. Take, for example, Rolando "Rolly" Romero. Tank neutralized his strengths with his own unique techniques, adjusted his style specifically for Romero, and a masterful defense at that. On the other hand, Martin struggles with opponents his height or shorter. His last two fights are a testament to this, showing that smaller opponents are simply harder to hit. In his fight against Harutyunyan, Martin missed a lot, which caused him to be off balance and take damage that could have been pretty dangerous. In the fight against Rivera, Frank even put himself in a dangerous situation. He played too much at mid-range and took significant damage. However, Harutyunyan and Rivera are not known for their destructive power that Gervonta Davis possesses. Will this be a major problem, though? We don't know yet, but it's certainly worth mentioning that Tank has never forgiven his opponent's mistakes, and for a knockout, he may need just one punch or just one successful situation, which Tyson's protege will gladly take advantage of. Knockout power. Frank Martin is an 18-fight winning streaker with 12 knockouts, but 70% of his knockouts have been achieved by referee stoppage or his opponent's refusal to continue. He likes to gradually break down his opponents round by round until they lose all desire to keep boxing. Clearly, Frank is a very bright and promising boxer, but in terms of skill, he is far from Gervonta Davis's level. Tank has one of the highest knockout percentages in the sport, 92%. With 29 wins, he has 27 knockouts. And he hasn't just been knocking out easy opponents. Most often, Gervonta finds his opponent's vulnerable spot and targets it, hiding his powerful punches behind feisty jabs and other maneuvers. Gervonta has a natural ability to hit so powerfully that many cruiserweights and heavyweights would envy such strength. In this aspect, Tank Davis wins unequivocally. Boxing IQ. Both Frank and Gervonta possess a high level of intelligence in the ring. Gervonta will find it challenging to adapt to Frank's style, just as Frank will find it difficult to adjust to Tank's approach. Let's delve into this aspect and compare the fighters' intelligence as demonstrated in their recent bouts. Frank Martin versus Michael Rivera. The victory over the previously unbeaten Rivera is a standout. Michael had been aiming to become the new champion, but Frank showed such radical changes in his style that one of the judges gave all around 12 rounds to Frank. What prompted these changes, though? Well, the boxer's intelligence. During the fight, he executed an excellent tactical job, forcing his opponent to make mistakes and not hesitating to change his approach and tactics during the bout. Frank Martin versus Artem Harutyunyan. In this fight, the Olympic bronze medalist started out quite aggressively. Even Frank's team didn't expect such a pace, and Artem took the first rounds. Fans and experts began to think of an upset, but only Frank knew what was really happening. Sensing uncertainty in his own tactics, Frank deliberately gave up rounds. He diversified the risks and waited for clear openings in Harutyunyan's defense. Once he saw them, he immediately acted after conceding the first half. He displayed a dominant performance and won the fight by unanimous decision. There's no need to say much about Gervonta. We all know how much Davis loves power, but he's even better at using his brain. Tank is elegant in his actions. Everything he does in the ring has a certain subtext. Working on opponents' mistakes, setting traps, tricks, and adapting to opponent styles have long been integral parts of Tank's fighting style. All of this would be impossible without the high intelligence that Tank possesses. Boxing styles. Both boxers love to work aggressively and precisely, have good and well-balanced punches, and possess similar styles that have kept them undefeated. However, there are crucial differences. Gervonta is not shy about working as the second number. For him, it's not a problem to just give up the initiative and fully enjoy the opponent's passivity, only to make up for lost ground in just a few rounds. Tank loves to analyze opponents thoroughly and strike at their weakest points. Frank Martin, on the other hand, is more meticulous. He forces the pace when he's fully confident and doesn't fear getting caught. He rarely makes mistakes, is extremely cautious, and his southpaw stance has caused significant trouble for his opponents. However, Tank's competitive advantage may lie in his improvisation and ability to adapt to any scenario. Traditionally a southpaw, he has often switched to an orthodox stance. He has repeatedly changed his fighting style, being the initiator, working as both the first and second number, trying his hand as a counter-puncher and a knockout artist. The 0 in his loss column tells us all that we need to know about his improvisations and how successful they've been. Tank is a more versatile boxer. When he trained with Floyd Mayweather, Floyd taught Tank to throw thousands of punches, not to focus on just one or two. Tank has knocked down opponents from various distances, from distinct angles and stances. No opponent from Tank's impressive list has ever made him feel true discomfort in the ring. And something tells us that Tank will find a way to deal with Frank's tough and promising style. Weaknesses and strengths of Tank and Martin. Without a doubt, Frank has the advantage in size. He can afford to work as the first number only due to his greater height and reach. In dangerous moments, he can clinch opponents and come out of these clinches as the winner. Speed, good reaction, pragmatism, and technical skill have always been bright components of Frank's style. Despite all of Martin's advantages, there are also significant drawbacks. For example, Frank makes mistakes that are frequent to his level. He makes amateur mistakes, getting tangled in his own attacks, sometimes not fully using his advantages and acting on emotions and making rash decisions. Despite all this, Frank is one of the best boxers in the lightweight limit. But what can he offer against Tank? Tank has a full carte blanche. His footwork is magnificent, he is smart, speed and maneuverability are his best freaking friends, and his strong punches never left him since he first put on his boxing gloves. However, Gervonta is not perfect either. He often complained about the burden that fell on his shoulders after winning his first title. He simply fears not living up to the expectations, which indicates his mental instability. Tank is perfectly built physically, has a number of outstanding features, and boxes excellently. But if you don't deal with problems in your head, it becomes your prison. And Mike Tyson, Ryan Garcia, Tyson Fury, and Canelo Alvarez know this better than anyone. Fight prediction. Without a doubt, the fight could contend for the title of Fight of the Year. We are in for an uncompromising clash between two titans of their weight class. This fight will undoubtedly be filled with blood, sweat, and pain. However, who has the better chance of winning is what we want to know. We're not counting Frank out, but we agree with the experts. Tank looks like the favorite in this matchup. Let's take a look at the situation from Frank's perspective. He needs to beat an undefeated monster who has almost shown no weaknesses, barely faced any problems in the ring, and can knock you out with a single mistake. What does Martin need to do? He needs to fight as the aggressor, impose a pace on Tank that makes Gervonta uncomfortable. To neutralize Tank's strengths, Martin must constantly move, cutting angles to quickly get out of the line of attack and minimize potential damage. Then he needs to make Gervonta miss, which will impact his conditioning and functionality, something incredibly difficult to achieve. Tank's overall percentage of landed punches is 64%, meaning that throughout his career, Gervonta has landed 6 out of 10 punches. Moreover, Martin should never forget about Gervonta's knockout power. He must be prepared to endure incredible damage at any moment over all 12 rounds. Difficult? But that's not all. To try to knock out Tank, Frank will need to surpass himself. Tank has never taken critical damage. He is known for his iron chin and maneuverability. Frank will need to perform truly incredible work in the ring, while Tank just needs to fight a southpaw in a comfortable manner for himself. Frank's chances of victory seem slim, but we must remember that we are fans of boxing. This is a sport where Buster Douglas knocked out Mike Tyson, which means that anything we can imagine on our heads could very well become true today. We are in for a truly unique event, and all we can do is wait.